Okay, in this video, I'm going to give you the answer key to the problem I gave you over the weekend. And if you didn't do it over the weekend, you'll be able to watch it here as well. But try to do it on your own, okay? Because this is the type of problem that we'll do in class. Now, the difference between this type of system of inequalities and what we did before was that you're going to have to come up with the system by reading the words, okay? So this is when it starts to get a little bit more difficult. But again, if you use all the things that we've talked about, it should be okay. So we need to come up with a system of inequalities. You are about to take a test that contains short answers worth 5 points each and an essay essays that are worth 12 points each. So right there, I basically have an equation or an inequality, already set up, don't I? I have short answers, and let's call the short answer questions We'll call those the x's, okay? And those are worth 5 points each. So for every one that I do, it's worth 5. So I just multiply by that. So if I do 2, it's 10. If I do 3, it's 15. And then I also have essay questions. And I'm going to label those y. And those are worth 12 points each, okay? 12 times y. Now, I don't know how much they're worth, but it's going to be the total, let's just say, of my score. I'll just call it my score for whatever the essay is, or whatever the quiz is. Now, you must do at least 6 short answer questions, but time restricts you from doing more than 10. So how would I write that? So x, short answer, has to be at least 6, but it has to be less than or equal to 10. So there are 2 different inequalities that I can use. I could also rewrite this if I wanted as 6 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 10. Either one of these 2 ways, this is just more broken up, would be acceptable, okay? Let's see what else I have to do. You must, and I can actually, you'll notice that as I interpret these, I should cross them out so that I know that I've taken care of them, that I'm not going to repeat anything. So let's do that. You must do at least 3 essays, okay? So y has to be greater than or equal to 3, but time restricts doing any more than 5. So y also has to be less than or equal to 5. And just like we did up here, I could say 3 is less than or equal to y less than or equal to 5. Okay, so again, either one of these 2 ways would count. You can do no more than 12 problems total. So, last inequality, x plus y has to be less than or equal to 12, because I can only go up to 12 and no further. What is my maximum score possible? Now notice the difference here. Again, cross these out as you do them. This is what I call an objective function. Why? It's an objective function because this is basically answering my question. All right? And it has to do specifically with my maximum possible score. These down here don't talk about scores. They talk about the individual problems. So in a sense, this type of inequality, it's not an inequality, it's an equation. It's going to be different from these guys down here. And that's how you should look for all of these problems. One of the pieces of information is talking about something different than the other ones, which are clearly inequalities. Whatever that different piece of information is, that's probably going to be your objective function. Now let's go ahead and graph this and see what it comes out to be in terms of an answer, because I have 2 things to find out. What are the vertexes or the vertices bounded by these restrictions? These are also called restrictions. And what are each of the possible scores using the individual vertices, okay? Now, it probably would be a smart idea to use a piece of graph paper. Let me just find one real quick. and go ahead and graph these. Now, the other thing that I didn't really write here, but which is also understood, and usually for these kind of problems, you should also understand it as well, that x has to be greater than or equal to 0, excuse me, and y has to be greater than or equal to 0, because everything's going to be done in the first quadrant, and that's where reality takes place. So look, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different inequalities to graph on this piece of paper. So let's be very, very careful how we do it. So here's some graph paper, and I'm just going to use this as my y-axis, and I'm going to use this as my x-axis. All right. Let's start graphing. X needs to be greater than or equal to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So x is 6. I draw a line straight up and down. Let's do that. And it has to be greater than, so I'm going to shade in that direction. Okay? X can also be less than or equal to 10. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it has to be less than or equal to. So let's go ahead and graph that. There's that line. And I'm shading in that direction. So far, it looks like my answer is just this band. Now let's go to the y's. Y has to be greater than or equal to 3. So I go 1, 2, 3. Let's do this. Okay, and greater than, so I'm going up, but it has to be less than 5. So let's go up to 5. 3, 4, 5. And less than. So look at what's going on here so far. Everything in that little space is going to be my answer. Now, x is greater than 0, so that direction, y is greater than 0, so up in that direction. Those are taken care of as well. My last inequality is the x plus y has to be less than or equal to 12. So let's go to 12. 1, 2, 3, well, this is standard form. So if x is 0, y is 12, y is 0, x is 12. So that's just 12, 0 here, and 0, 12 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And let's go ahead and connect those up. And it has to be less than, so I'm shading down. If I put 0 and 0, I would cover that. So there we go. Now look what I've done. I've actually gotten a very... Excuse me just one second. I've got a very specific area bounded by my restrictions. And it looks like everything is exactly on an intersection as well. So let's go ahead and find out what these vertices are. One of the vertices looks like it's 6, 3. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. So vertices, keep this organized, is 6, 3. That's this one. This next vertex over here looks like it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 3. So 9, 3. Another vertex looks like it's this one here, so 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 and 5. 7 and 5. And finally, this last vertex is this one right here, which looks like it's 6 and 5. Now, normally I would label my lines and I would label each one of these points, but this is a little bit small, so I'm just going to assume that you can do that if you blew this up a little bit, and then do most of my work over here. So 6 and 5 was my last vertex. So again, what is this basically saying? I have a combination of short answers and essays. So this combination is 6 short answer, 3 essay, 9 short answer, 3 essay, 7 short answer, 5 essay, 6 short answer, 5 essay. And if I put it through my objective function, right up here, 5x plus 12y, give me my score, I'll be able to answer my second question. What are each of the possible scores using the individual vertices, okay? Now let's go ahead and start plugging things in. Notice how I'm keeping this kind of like a grid. So I'm going to start off 5 times the x is 6 plus 12, that should be 12y, sorry. 12 times the y is 3. That's going to give me 30 plus 36 gives me a total of 66 points if I chose this combination, okay? Let's move on. 9 times, oh, excuse me, that should be 5. My input is 9, right? So 5 times 9 plus 12 times input there is 3. That gives me 45 plus 36. 11 carry the 1. That means my score, if I chose this combination, would be 81. Let's keep going. 5 times 7 plus 12 times 5. That's going to give me 35 plus 60, which gives me 95. And finally, this last combination is 5 times 6 plus 12 times 5. That's going to give me, did I do this right? 35. Yeah, I did do it right. That's going to give me 60 plus 30, or 90. So here's your question. Which is the highest possible score that I could get on this test within the time constraints that I have? I should go for 7 short answer and 5 essay. And that's how you solve one of these systems of inequalities. Okay? Oh, look up here. What is the maximum possible score? So this is the combo. I hope that was helpful.